Father Figure by Taylor Swift. Now we come to track 4 of Taylor's album The Life of a Showgirl. And after 3 really radio-friendly pop bangers, the tone and style of the album shifts a little at this point. I would say, for the next 4 tracks. We'll see whether I still think that as I get through these tracks. But certainly the style and tone changes for this next track, Father Figure. We move into a more lyrical mode, more of a storytelling mode, and also just the genre of the music shifts about here. I think this song, Father Figure, has more of a soul R&B feel to it than just a straight pop sound. A couple of things I'd like to get out of the way at the beginning, and that is, first of all, that I don't think that, at least in the initial narrator of this song, the initial first person of this song, I don't think that represents Taylor herself. She is adopting a role here. She's taking on a character. She's speaking through the voice of someone else. That's not to say that she doesn't identify with some aspects of this character. I'm sure she does. But the I in this story, at least in the first part of the song, is not Taylor Swift herself. Now, we can speculate, and a lot of people are speculating about who this actually represents. We can say that it refers to a specific person. We probably wouldn't be wrong. But I think we can speak more generally that this is a commentary on the music industry in general, or even more broadly, the entertainment industry. But I think it goes beyond even that. I think this can be in any setting where power dynamics of this kind are in play, whether it's in the business world or perhaps even in the world of politics. While the inspiration of this song may be very personal to Taylor, and there are elements in the song that point to specific aspects of Taylor's life within the music industry, I think the application of this song is much broader than that. The third point that I want to address here is the point of view of the song. And I think this is a little more complicated than many commentators are perceiving. Now, I may be completely wrong about this, but when I get to particular points in the song, I want to consider very carefully the point of view, who is speaking in this song. And I think that's quite complicated, and I may well be wrong, but I'll tell you what I think is going on anyway. So with that by way of preface, let's take a look at Father Figure by Taylor Swift.
When I found you, you were young, lost in the cold. Pulled up to you in the jack, turned your rags into gold. The winding road leads to the chateau. You remind me of a younger me. I saw potential.
So Taylor's painting a very clear picture here. We have the image of someone clearly wealthy, driving a Jag, on the way to a chateau. So we have this image already of power, of wealth, of status. And this person, this narrator, is addressing their words to a potential protege. They come across someone who reminds them of a younger version of themselves, so they see them as a potential protege. That's the scene that's being set here. They claim to have taken this person under their wing. They were young, they were wayward, they were lost in the cold. They needed the guidance of an older figure, a mentor of some kind. And this mentor claims to have turned their rags into gold, taking them into the chateau, taking them into that world. It's interesting that it's a winding road that leads to the chateau. I get images of somewhere maybe in the French Alps or the Swiss Alps driving up this narrow, windy road. It's not straightforward. It's a difficult journey to the chateau. But this mentor takes this person under their wing, promises to guide them. They offer them a rags to riches story. The musical style here, as I said, for me has a kind of soul R&B feel to it. rather than just a straightforward pop. There is some interesting movements in the melody here, though. She's not letting go of that melodic element which has been so strong in the album so far.
When I found you, you were young, we were lost in the cold. Pulled up to you in the jag, turned your rags into gold. The winding road leads to the chateau. You remind me of a younger me. I saw potential. I'll be your father figure. I drink that brown liquor. I can make deals with the devil because my dick's bigger. This love is pure profit. Just step into my office. I dry your tears with my sleeve. Leave it with me. I protect the family. Leave it with me. I protect the family.
Obviously, she incorporates here that phrase from George Michael's earlier song, Father Figure. She uses the same melody, the same rhythm here. There have been some suggestions, I don't buy into this, but there have been some suggestions that this song is actually about Taylor and Olivia Rodrigo, that Olivia Rodrigo is the protege who's coming along. I don't think that's the case, but it would be interesting if it were, because when Taylor wrote this song, she contacted the estate of George Michael to see if they would agree to incorporating these lines from George Michael's song into her song. And she gives George Michael a writing credit. And we know that with one of Olivia's songs, I can't remember which one it was, she was ultimately obliged to give Taylor a writing credit because it drew clearly from one of her songs. Maybe if it were about Olivia Rodrigo, and I really don't think it is, if it were about Olivia Rodrigo, that would be a nice way to kind of rub salt into the wound. Look, I'm going to do it the right way. But I'll be your father figure, so we're using family imagery here. Interestingly, in the previous song, Opalite, we saw Taylor draw her real family into the song. She drew in her brother and her mother and ultimately also Travis. But here we're talking about a different kind of family here, a different dynamic is going on. I'll take care of you, I'll look after you, that's the promise here. I drink that brown liquor. I don't know much about Scotch, bourbon, whiskey, whatever it is, but I suspect that's meant to imply that he drinks this expensive drink, this brown liquor. And it's interesting that he appeals to this. I mean, there's an appeal in this song to riches, to chateaus, to this brown liquor, as if this is what being a father figure meant, as if it meant providing all these material goods, as if it meant providing the protege with all this glitter, all this wealth. That's the interpretation that the narrator of this song, anyway, puts upon this idea of a father figure. That's how this person perceives the role of a father, to provide these things. It's about status, it's about power. And this is rubbed in when the narrator says, I can make deals with the devil because my dick's bigger. Now, at this point in the song, I want to make it clear that Taylor is not talking about her dick. Maybe later, we'll look at that later, but here she's not talking about her dick. She's taking on the role of the father figure here. She's playing a character. She's in costume here. The use of the word dick here is much stronger than the clean version where it says check. I can make deals with the devil because my check's bigger. Dick is much stronger here because what Taylor is doing is attacking this toxic masculinity. And that's why she uses the word dick here. Then this father figure says, this love is pure profit. There's no ambiguity there. Of course, the father figure would want to say that it's profit for you, my protege, as well as for me. But that's what it's about. It's about profit. So we know that this is a pseudo-love. It's not real love. even though the narrator in the song may in fact believe that that's what love is, that it's about providing wealth and riches to yourself and to your potential children, to your protege. But it's a perverted view of love, and it's a perverted view of family. There's something slightly sinister about the line, "just step into my office." It's a bit like the spider to the fly, I think. It's a trap. The mentor is drawing the protege into a trap. They want to use them, they want to make money, and they're gilding this in terms of offering this person riches, power, status. Leave it with me. I protect the family. Clearly, we have a mafia reference here. Again, this is such a perverted concept of family. And as we'll see later, it emphasizes loyalty. Who else in the world today can we think of who emphasizes loyalty in that way?
I'll be a father figure. I drink that brown liquor. I can make deals with the devil because my dick's bigger. This love is pure profit. Just step into my office. I dry your tears with my sleeve. Leave it with me. I protect the family. Leave it with me. I protect the family. I pay the check before it kisses the mahogany grain. Said they wanna see you rise, they don't want you to reign. I showed you all the tricks of the trade. All I ask for is your loyalty, my dear protege.
I pay the check before it kisses the mahogany grain. We're demonstrating power again here. He doesn't even wait for the check to see what the meal's going to cost. He just tosses money on the table. He's got money to throw away. He doesn't care what the check says. That's what he's going to pay for this meal. And it's a lovely touch to say, before it kisses the mahogany grain. Right? This is real lyricism. This is Taylor at her best. He doesn't pay the check before the check lands on the table. He pays it before it kisses the mahogany grain. Again, mahogany grain evokes some kind of image of where they're dining. This is a high-class place. It's all about class. And he says to his protege, they want to see you rise, they don't want to see you reign. There's an implicit threat in that line, I think. The mentor is saying to his protege, you can go so far, but no further. They want to see you rise to the top of the pile, but they don't want to see you reign. They don't want to see you in my position. This is a warning to the protege. I showed you all the tricks of the trade. All I ask for is your loyalty, my dear protege. The power dynamics here. The mentor is asserting their power over the protege while offering to help them to rise. So far and no further.
I pay the check before it kisses the mahogany grain. Said they wanna see you rise, they don't want you to reign. I showed you all the tricks of the trade. All I ask for is your loyalty, my dear protege. I'll be a father figure. I drink that brown liquor. I can make deals with the devil because my dick's bigger. This love is pure profit. Just step into my office. They'll know your name in the streets. Leave it with me. I protect the family.
She just changes up the chorus and post-chorus a little bit here. The chorus finishes with the line, they'll know your name in the streets. So this is the promise, this is the offer. We're getting both sides of this deal here. That's what I'm offering you. They'll know your name in the streets. There's a darkness to this song, which I think some people don't like in the context of this Glitter Gel pop album. There are a few songs on the album where this darkness comes through, I think. Personally, I welcome that. I'm glad it's not all Glitter Gel. I'm glad there's something a bit deeper and darker here. But now we move into the bridge.
I saw a change in you, my dear boy. They don't make loyalty like they used to. Your thoughtless ambition sparked the ignition on foolish decisions, which led to misguided visions, led to fulfill your dreams. You had to get rid of me. I protect the family.
Now the dynamics in this relationship begin to change. I saw a change in you. My dear boy, and dear boy has something sinister about it here too. They don't make loyalty like they used to. So the protege has not, at least in the eyes of the mentor, remained loyal. There's betrayal here, at least in the eyes of the mentor. Your thoughtless ambition sparked the ignition on foolish decisions which led to misguided visions. I'm not entirely sure that I like the wordplay there. It sounds a little bit forced, but let's go with it. Thoughtless ambition. Ambition is surely one of the qualities that the mentor saw in the protege in the first place. This is why he recognized him as a younger version of himself. So the betrayal shouldn't really come as a surprise. Spark the ignition. We have more flame imagery here from Taylor on foolish decisions which led to misguided visions. So basically what the mentor is saying to the protege is you've gone too far. You've overreached. The ideas got into your head, my protege, that to fulfill your dreams, you had to get rid of me. And ain't that the way shit always ends? As much as the mentor might protest this and protest the lack of loyalty, the reality in this scenario, in this pseudo family, is that you get ahead by overthrowing the people above you. It's what the mentor did in his day. It's what the protege is going to do to him. That's the reality here. And if the mentor didn't realize that, then that's a blind spot that they have. They expect absolute loyalty. When this doesn't come, when the student begins to outshine the master, then the mentor is going to turn against the protege. And that's what he does here when he says, I protect the family. So now he is having to protect the family from the protege. So there's a great shift in the dynamics here.
I saw a change in you, my dear boy. They don't make loyalty like they used to. Your thoughtless ambition sparked the ignition on foolish decisions, which led to misguided visions, led to fulfill your dreams. You had to get rid of me. I protect the family.
Before we move on to the next verse, I just want to mention the way she says, I protect the family there. I protect the family. There's something even more sinister in the way that she whispers that than if she shouted it out.
I protect the family. I was your father figure. We drank that brown liquor. You made a deal with this devil. Turns out my dick's bigger. You wanna fight, you found it. I got the place surrounded. You'll be sleeping with the fishes before you know you're drowning.
Okay, here's where we need to look very closely at the point of view of the narrator here. I'm going to argue that the point of view switches at this point in the song. I was your father figure, we drank that brown liquor. I think now the protege is speaking. They are now claiming the role of father figure. You made a deal with this devil. Turns out my dick's bigger. So I think this is now the protege speaking. The protege is making their move. You want to fight? You found it. I got the place surrounded. So the reason I think that the point of view shifts here rather than anywhere else in the song is because only the attacking army will be surrounding the place. If this were still the point of view of the mentor, it wouldn't make sense to say, I got the place surrounded. That only makes sense if this is a siege by the protege. And the protege now threatens the mentor, you'll be sleeping with the fishes before you know you're drowning. Another point that I want to make here is that the protege is not being painted here as the good guy, which is why I would also say that Taylor isn't identifying 100% with this protege figure. The protege is going to do exactly what the mentor did. They're going to behave in exactly the same way as the mentor. They're not going to change this organisation, they're going to take it over. They're going to become the father figure. The same rules are going to apply, there's just going to be a different boss in charge. So I don't think it's a simple matter of the evil leader being overthrown by some sort of noble protege. No, the protege is going to be exactly the same as the mentor. They make that clear by using the same terminology, by using this mafia terminology. You'll be sleeping with the fishes before you know you're drowning. Have a listen to it again and see whether you think I'm right about that.
I was your father figure. We drank that brown liquor. You made a deal with this devil. Turns out my dick's bigger. You wanna fight, you found it. I got the place surrounded. You'll be sleeping with the fishes before you know you're drowning. Whose portraits on the mantle? Who covered up your scandals? Mistake my kindness for weakness and find your card canceled. I was your father figure. You pulled the wrong trigger. This empire belongs to me. Leave it with me. I protect the family. Leave it with me. I protect the family. Leave it with me.
Now here, and I suspect this is going to be a controversial claim, here I think the POV switches back to the mentor again. The protege hasn't won at this stage. The protege is launching their attack. But the mentor's not taking it lying down. Whose portrait's on the mantle, they say. Who covered up your scandals? Mistake my kindness for weakness and find your card cancelled. They still have the power at the moment, or at least that's how they see it. They still have the power. It's my portrait up there. I protected you. I took you from rags to riches. But don't mistake my kindness for weakness. If you do, you'll find your card cancelled. I was your father figure. You pulled the wrong trigger. This empire belongs to me. So I think this is the mentor fighting back. I don't think this battle is resolved in this song. I know you could read it as this is now the protege speaking, that they've taken control of the situation. And I can understand why you would do that. And honestly, that makes sense too. But I think the fact that the narrator here says, I was your father figure, indicates that it's the mentor speaking here, but he's no longer offering that protection. He's holding on to his empire. That's how I see it. So I see the majority of this song is written from the point of view of the mentor, but then we have this interpolation here where the protege speaks and the protege is rising up. The protege is laying siege to the operation I should mention the key change. You don't have key changes in songs much these days, and there are a few of them on this album, which I think is really nice. You might well ask, why a key change at this point? Well, I think whatever interpretation you put upon the lyrics here, you can incorporate the need for a key change here. But what I see here is that the key change represents a scaling up of the conflict. The mentor is accepting the challenge from the protege. They're not going to give in without a fight.
You'll be sleeping with the fishes before you know you're drowning. Whose portraits on the mantle? Who covered up your scandals? Mistake my kindness for weakness and find your card canceled. I was your father figure. You pulled the wrong trigger. This empire belongs to me. Leave it with me. I protect the family. Leave it with me. I protect the family. Leave it with me. You know, you remind me of a younger me. I saw potential.
I think the closing line supports my interpretation that this is actually still the mentor speaking here. You know, you remind me of a younger me. I saw potential. So there we have it, father figure. It's very different stylistically from the first three songs on the album. The word pop always bothers me when trying to describe music. Pop isn't really a genre. If you're going to call the first three songs of the album pop, I don't think you can call this one pop. Not really. It's certainly not the same style, the same genre. It's still very catchy, but it's got an entirely different mood, an entirely different rhythm going on here. As I say, for me, this has more of an R&B soul sort of feel to it. Wikipedia describes George Michael's original father figure as blue-eyed soul, R&B, even gospel. And I think this song shares that mood. So whatever genre you decide to fit it in, whether you decide to continue to call it pop or not, it's clearly a shift in style and mood from the first three songs of the album. And it's a good place to do that, I think, in terms of the structure of an album. I think three very catchy, radio-friendly songs to start with is enough. After that, we need a shift, and that's what Taylor gives us here. She gives us a shift into a different style and also into another level of lyricism. Now, my interpretation of the song may be controversial. You may want to dispute it, but that's great. I kind of hope you do. I'm not going to engage in an online argument, though. I'm not going to defend my interpretation against yours. You're perfectly entitled to your interpretation, and you may well be right and I may well be wrong. But where I sit at the moment is as I described, as I went through. I think it's a complex song from the point of view of the narration, of who is narrating what here. I also think it's morally ambiguous. I don't think that the protege is the hero of this song any more than the mentor is the hero of this song. I think this is a critique, in fact, of the whole system, of the power structure, that it depends upon this almost warlike approach to things. This initial pretense that it's a family, but this whole warlike overlord, the need to overthrow the overlord in order to get ahead in the organisation. I think this is a critique of all that. And yes, it may reflect some of Taylor's own experience in getting her masters back, in challenging the system. But I think it goes beyond that. There's a problem with the system, not only with the system in the music industry or the entertainment industry, but I think with the patriarchal system. I think ultimately this is in fact another attack against the patriarchal system, of the power dynamics of the patriarchal system, which is all about conflict. It's all about whose dick is bigger, frankly. Here, she's challenging that. As always, please let me know in the comments what you think of my interpretation of the song and what you think of the song itself.